Will Smith threatens to sue Chris Rock for reportedly earning over $40 million by bullying him. March 28, 2022, Dolby Theater, Hollywood, Los Angeles.
We want your speeches to be moving. We also want to keep it moving.
This was the date and setting for what would go down as one of the most infamous moments in the history of the Academy Awards. Will Smith, who had been nominated for one of the top awards of the night, suddenly went on stage to confront Chris Rock and struck him. The reactions to this slap were endless. You got comedians making jokes, friends of both parties giving their opinions, and just about everyone on the internet talking about it. Interestingly though, while Will himself has come out several times to publicly apologize for the slap, yeah, it's even got a name.
Chris, I apologize to you.
Chris didn't make much of a comment. Well, until now.
I have rooted for Will Smith my whole life, and now...
In his recent Netflix stand-up special titled Selective Outrage, Chris let Will absolutely have it. And now, it looks like Will is getting ready to fire back by dragging his once close friend to court. Wait, what? How did we get here? What exactly can everyone expect? Is Will Smith really about to sue Chris Rock after all that's happened? Well, sit back and take in all the hot scoops. Before the slap, Chris Rock and Will Smith are two of the biggest names in show business. There's absolutely no question about that. Will has become one of the most charismatic actors ever, and Chris solidified himself as one of the best comics of all time. Interestingly, Chris and Will have actually worked together several times. Back in the days of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Chris made a couple of appearances.
And then this Chinese guy comes in and says, "Supplies! Supplies!"
That is so funny! I don't get it, but you are so...
They might not have worked together recently, but things seem pretty cordial between the two of them. Now, before heading to the night of the Oscars slap, it's worth understanding where Will and Chris were in their lives. Chris has been a relatively quiet type of guy. Besides his stand-up, you barely hear him talk much or be in the public eye that much. It's part of what contributed to his enigma, and also part of what makes him such a great comic. Speaking of comics, Chris had also built a reputation for touching pretty sore spots. Along with comedians like Dave Chappelle, Chris has never really been scared to make a controversial joke from time to time. Will, on the other hand, was pretty much all over the place. With his entire family being in Hollywood, that pretty much meant that he was always in the news in one way or the other. Now, in the middle of 2020, Will and his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, shocked the world when they revealed that they had been having some marital problems. On an episode of Jada's popular Red Table talk show on Facebook TV,
marriages have that.
Yeah, we basically, we broke up.
And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, I think from there, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement with August.
Jada came clean to Will about cheating on him with August Alsina, a rapper who, at the time, was a friend to their son, Jaden.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship?
Yes, it wasn't.
Look, if anything has ever qualified to be called a doozy, this one did. Jada and Will actually spoke at length about their issues with marriage and the fact that they still loved each other no matter what. But what everyone could remember was the entanglement talk. From fellow celebrities to friends of the couple, and just about everyone on the internet, comments were buzzing about Jada's entanglement with August Alsina and how seemingly dysfunctional the marriage with Will was. But amidst it all, the couple stayed 10 toes beside each other and seemed to keep carrying on with the happy times, or whatever it looked like from the outside. So, everyone's pretty much caught up. Chris Rock is the type of guy who would never let anything slide, and Will Smith is dealing with a bit of a dysfunctional marriage. The slap that was heard around the world. Befitting a comic of his stature, Chris was eventually invited to give an award at the 2022 Oscars. Hey, this is a guy who's hosted the award itself twice, so it probably wasn't a new thing for him. And being the professional that he is, Chris got on stage ready to present the award for Best Documentary Feature at the Oscars. The typically funny Chris decided to open with a few jokes, most of which targeted different people. Interestingly, even video footage showed that Will, who, by the way, was nominated for Best Actor, enjoyed every minute of it. Then, Chris decided to go into no man's land and make a joke about Jada. Chris's joke referenced Jada's bald head, which she had on because she was dealing with a disease called alopecia.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
And just like that, Will got irate and literally stepped up to hit Chris in the face while on stage.
Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow.
What will Chris say? The moment the slap was delivered, it became a controversy. First of all, many people thought it was staged. When it finally dawned on everyone that it wasn't, the reactions started flying in. Everyone seemingly had something to say. Some believed that Chris had gone too far with a joke, while others claimed that Will should never have gotten on stage to hit him. Whichever side of the argument you fall into, it's safe to say this was a pretty ugly situation. And when the dust eventually settled, Will actually apologized for his actions. In his apology, Will seemed quite remorseful, even going as far as saying that he got caught up in the moment and that he truly regretted his actions. But in all of this, there's one person that never really said much: Chris himself. He did make some comments about the slap from time to time, like when he referenced Will Smith after Dave Chappelle also got attacked on stage last year. But as far as official responses go, Chris never really said anything. The clapback. It would take the world about a year for Chris to finally give a response to all of this. In early March 2023, Chris Rock premiered his Netflix comedy special, Selective Outrage. The show had been seen by many as a regular theme for a comedian like Chris. He'd come out, make people laugh, condemn cancel culture, and more. But reports started to point out that he could reference the Will Smith slap here. And as you'd expect, that only drove up the anticipation for the comedy special even more. In typical showman fashion, Chris kept everyone waiting until the very end of the show to deliver his response. But when he did, boy, it was something. Yeah, it was bad. Chris pretty much referenced Will's marital issues, the fact that Jada seemed to be humiliating him, and even pointed out that he, Chris that is, was not the victim here. While Chris did end up saying that he loved Will and respected him, the clapback was obvious. And boy, Chris sure delivered. Incoming lawsuit? As you'd expect, Chris's retort immediately sparked a huge wave of reactions. People were talking about whether he went too far with a joke or if Will had it coming. When you think about it, the whole thing's pretty funny. Chris's special focused on a lot of things, from cancel culture to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry to a broad range of other topics. But the only thing everyone wanted to talk about was the Will Smith jokes. Some sources and corners of the internet have even suggested that Will might be gearing up to sue Chris Rock for some of the money he made for Selective Outrage. Chris signed a deal for 2 specials with Netflix, which paid him $40 million in total. The first was 2018's Tambourine, while the second was Selective Outrage. This means that the comedic genius apparently made $20 million for the latest special. If Will does decide to sue, then the amount of money on the table would be quite substantial. For now, a lot of the things you'll hear about Will and Chris are speculation. Both men have been pretty silent since Selective Outrage came out, so all everyone has to go by is the word of alleged sources. If Will does eventually respond to the Netflix special with a lawsuit, It would be pretty interesting to see how things would unfold, especially since Chris actually declined to press charges against Will for his initial slap. But one thing's for sure, this drama is far from over.